Old woman adopts the most powerful pit bull. Her neighbors get terrified when they hear someone scream. In a small, cold, and rural part of Russia, an elderly woman named Anika shattered stereotypes and defied societal perceptions when she decided to adopt a stray pit bull she named Benji. Though met with skepticism and fear from her neighbors, Anika's compassion and determination changed the lives of both Benji and those around her. In today's video, let's delve into the heartwarming journey of how Benji, once considered dangerous, proved to be our hero that shattered preconceived notions about his breed. The loneliness of Anika. In the quaint little town nestled in the heart of Russia, Anika lived a life of solitude. 2 long decades had passed since the love of her life, her husband, had departed this world, leaving her to navigate the journey of life alone. And while Anika was an independent and strong-willed woman, there were moments when the weight of her loneliness bore down heavily on her heart. Her daughter, whom she cherished with all of her heart, had ventured off to live in a bustling city hundreds of miles away. It was a necessary move for her daughter's husband's work, but it left Anika with an ache in her heart. The visits were few and far between, and the longing to hold her daughter and grandson in her arms grew with every passing day. Anika's days were filled with routines, the rhythm of life seemingly unchanging. But amidst the familiar patterns, there was a void she could not ignore. Her last faithful companion, a beloved pet dog, had wandered away years ago, leaving an emptiness that even time could not mend. She often found solace in nature, taking long walks through the winding paths of the town, observing the changing seasons, and admiring the beauty of the world around her. Yet as she wandered through life, she couldn't help but feel a sense of incompleteness. The echoes of laughter and playful barks from her long-gone dog haunted her, reminding her of the love and joy that once filled her home. It was during one of these quiet walks that she first encountered the stray pit bull. Initially, she couldn't help but feel a flicker of fear, as stories of the breed's supposed aggressiveness swirled in her mind. But as she observed the forlorn figure scavenging for scraps, a glimmer of compassion replaced her fear. Anika's heart ached for the dog, sensing a shared loneliness in its soulful eyes. Perhaps this stray was not so different from her, yearning for love and companionship amidst a world that often misunderstood them. The day marked the beginning of a silent connection between Anika and the pit bull, a connection that would eventually transform both of their lives. Encounter with an unlikely friend. The pit bull, a thin and scruffy figure, caught Anika's eye as it wandered the streets in search of food. It was a sight that would have made many turn away in fear, but Anika's heart was different. Beneath the imposing exterior, she saw vulnerability and longing, and her compassionate spirit stirred to life. Fueled by her love for animals and a desire to fill the void in her heart, Anika decided to take a chance. She began leaving food out for the timid stray, an offering of kindness and an unspoken invitation of friendship. Day after day, she patiently observed from a distance, giving the pit bull the space it needed to feel safe. Gaining trust through patience. Anika's efforts to befriend the stray pit bull were met with initial hesitation. The dog, having faced hardships on the streets, was understandably wary of human interaction. Undeterred, Anika devised a plan to win over the canine's trust, knowing that patience was key. She continued to leave food out, gradually inching closer each day. Slowly but surely, the pit bull began to see Anika as a source of nourishment and comfort. The cautious glances turned into curious stares, and eventually, the dog allowed her to come closer without fleeing. With each gentle approach, Anika's touch grew closer to the pit bull's head, and soon enough, she was able to stroke it gently. The bond between them deepened, forged in moments of understanding and compassion. The judgment of the neighbors. As word spread about Anika's unlikely friendship with a pit bull, her neighbors began to grow increasingly concerned. Pit bulls were often misunderstood and labeled as dangerous, and the idea of one living in their peaceful neighborhood sent shivers down their spines. Anika's neighbors, well-meaning but blinded by fear, felt compelled to intervene. They tried to chase the stray dog away, believing it was the best course of action to protect the community. Some even went as far as calling the local dog shelter, hoping to have the pit bull removed for everyone's safety. But Anika knew the truth that her neighbors couldn't see. Beneath the surface, Benji, as she affectionately named the pit bull, was a gentle soul yearning for love and understanding. She saw beyond the stereotype and refused to let fear dictate her actions. A life-changing decision. As the days turned into weeks, Anika's bond with a pit bull, whom she lovingly named Benji, only grew stronger. The unshakable connection between the two was evident to anyone who cared to look beyond the surface. Anika had seen through the stereotypes and recognized the gentle heart that beat within Benji, and she knew she had to take a stand for her newfound friend. Determined to protect Benji from the threat of being taken away by the dog shelter, Anika made a life-changing decision. She decided to formally adopt him as her own. The move was met with resistance from her neighbors, who were still consumed by their fears and prejudices about the breed. They cautioned Anika about the perceived dangers of having a pit bull living among them, especially with young children around. But Anika's heart remained steadfast. She had seen the true essence of Benji, his timid nature, his eagerness to please, and the unyielding love he had shown her. With conviction in her heart, she knew that appearances could be deceiving, and she refused to let the judgment of others overshadow the unique bond she had formed with a gentle soul. Benji proves his heart. The turning point came when Anika's daughter dropped off her young grandson for a weekend visit. The joy of having her family around was a rare treat for Anika, and she couldn't wait to share her newfound happiness with them, especially with Benji by her side. As the young boy played in the yard, laughter filled the air like sweet music. Anika watched with a grandmother's love, cherishing every moment of her grandson's innocent joy, but fate had an unexpected twist in store. As the boy explored the garden, curiosity led him to the edge of a large pond, and misfortune struck. He stumbled and fell into the water, unable to swim and panic-stricken. Fear clenched Anika's heart as she watched her precious grandson struggle to stay afloat. Before she could react, Benji's instincts took over. Without a moment's hesitation, he sprang into action. With a powerful leap, he dove into the pond, his sleek form cutting through the water like a graceful dancer. With every stroke, he closed the distance between himself and the distressed boy. With a burst of strength, Benji reached the struggling child and gently grasped his shirt with his teeth. With immense care and determination, he guided the boy to the pond's edge and pulled him to safety. Anika stood in awe, her eyes filled with tears of gratitude and admiration for the hero her beloved Benji had become. The redemption of Benji. In that heart-stopping moment, the neighbors who had once feared and judged Benji witnessed a miracle that shattered their misconceptions. They saw with their own eyes the bravery and compassion of the pit bull they had once deemed dangerous. Benji's heroic act not only saved a life, but also saved his reputation, proving that appearances did not define character. In the aftermath of the rescue, the once reserved and judgmental neighbors gathered around Anika, Benji, and her grandson, their faces filled with awe and newfound respect. They saw beyond the fears that had once clouded their judgment and embraced the truth that Benji was a loyal and caring companion. From that moment on, Benji became a symbol of redemption, a living example that one should never judge a book by its cover. Anika's persistence in forming a bond with Benji had transformed not only his life, but also the perspectives of the entire community. Anika's decision to adopt Benji had opened their hearts to understanding, compassion, and the power of second chances. They realized that stereotypes could be broken, that fear could be replaced with love, and that the unlikeliest of friendships could blossom into something truly beautiful. As the sun set on that eventful day, Anika, Benji, and the whole community stood united, grateful for the lesson they had learned. They celebrated the bravery of a pit bull who had defied expectations, proving that love and compassion knew no bounds. And in the glow of that newfound understanding, Anika's home and heart were filled with the warmth of an unlikely hero, the gentle and courageous Benji. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more motivational videos like this one, please subscribe to our channel.